Hey, what's up? It's Timmy. In this video, I'm going to redesign a real UI in Rive from scratch while explaining my thinking as I go. This is very beginner friendly and I'll be making decisions live. So you see the process, not just the final result. This UI was designed by Frieda Odagboyi, UI and illustration both by app. I really like how thoughtful this design is, so I asked if I could turn it into interactive tutorial and she kindly agreed. I'll link her Twitter handle in the description. Please check out her work. Whenever someone sends me a design, I don't open Rive immediately. I always come back to Figma because animation is just design that move. The first thing I'm looking at is hierarchy. The title is clear and the text already explain the message. So I'm thinking already the text doesn't need animation. It's already doing its job. But this illustration here, this is emotional and this is where motion can really help. One mistake beginners make is try to animate everything. So let's decide which ends motion. So the bottom sheet, yes. The illustration, yes, but subtle. The button, yes, for feedback. The text, no. Motion should support UI, not distract users from it. Now that I understand the design, I'll export from Figma as SVG. SVG helps keep your UI clean inside Rive. So let's jump into Rive. Ctrl V to paste it in my Rive file. So if I come to my asset, I'm going to drag it in. Before animating anything, I organize. I want to see grouping as a folder. If your stuffs are flat, it's going to be stressful to find things, right? So see grouping as a folder where you keep your things and you can find them easily. Before animating, I'm going to give our illustration and button inside its own artboard, which is going to serve as a component. So that way, each component has its own artboard, its own logic, its own animations, and it makes the whole process more easy and less scary. So let's do that now. I'm going to create another artboard here. Maybe call it illustration. I'm going to copy this group and just paste it here. Let's click it. And so I'm going to do the same for the button, but in this case I want to use layout to create our button. So I'm going to create an artboard. I'm going to create an artboard and just call this button. So now I'm going to add a layout, Shift L to add a text layout. I'm going to press my shift L again to add another layout. Now I can take this out as an absolute and take the absolute position out and make this view and this view. So I have something like this. So we can adjust just going to add we have our button, so let's move on. Let's just so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create our main artboard to stand as the main artboard. So I'm just going to use maybe iPhone 16 Pro Max. Let's use iPhone 16 Pro Max. I'm just going to reduce the height. Just bottom sheet. So this is going to be our main artboard. So let me just call it main screen. It's going to be our main screen. I'm going to make this component, make this a component as well. So we can that way we can use this inside the main artboard. So let's continue, and we have two text here, right? So I'm going to select the two text and press Shift L. So it's going to add the both text in a column layout, and both text as they are inside their own box. This is what we are going to, because we are going to be using layout to arrange our elements. I'm going to nest our component in by pressing my N key. So I'm just going to put in our speak. Just going to something like this. So I'm going to bring in our button as well. Let's group text and button together. So I'm going to press my Shift L to add them inside the group, inside the layout rather, and add that to. I'm going to select that column and add the illustration to layout together with. So I'm just going to name them real quick. I'm going to name them real quick. Let's call this text. I'm going to call this text and button, and I'm going to call this bottom sheets always have like a dash right there to indicate a slide. So let's just add that. I'm going to activate my this, make it a stroke. So you're going to have this. I'm going to call this me add it to a group. So now that we have everything in this main screen, we are going to add everything inside it, add everything together with layout. So we are going to box everything with layout. We are going to start with the top layout, which is going to be this dash and illustration. So we are going to add the both of them into the same layout. So I'm going to change it in row. So I'm going to change it back to column, so we can have something like this and just regroup, like reorganize. So I'm going to bring this up, just add a padding, rather a vertical gap. So let's do the same for this button and the text. I'm going to add both of them. So have something like this, and going to add both text there. And I'm going to name this top sheet, down sheet. Then this will be so let's do it this way. Let's see if I change, if I use bottom sheet and take out the absolute position, just put this. So we can't, so we need to put it back to absolute position and just control it. This. So right now I'm using the absolute position to, so that we can use it to drag from bottom to up while still keeping it in, while still keeping our design in layout. So I think there's too much gap here, so just reduce this vertical line. There it's 24. And take this down. We have something like this. So if you are following along, I was just trying some different ways I can achieve it, achieve our sliding up and down. So we get to set it to absolute position because it gives us the ability to drag our containers, or to position it to any position you want to drag it from. Before animating, I always plan the logic. I always think to myself, how does the sheet moves in or comes in? How does it goes out? How does the button react on the screen? I'm going to create an artboard and place in as the first artboard is going to be our sliding. The only thing we are just going to be animating is, because we are going to keep it simple, is the positioning. So we are going to key in the position here and duplicate this and call it slide out. Just going to drag this down. I'm going to drag this down. The dash is the only thing showing. So we have our drag up, drag out. So I'm going to come here and do that. So we are going to have, I'm going to bring in the slide in, slide out animation to our state machine layer 1. I'm going to change this one to slide out and change this to sliding, and I'm going to come to our data and change the name of our view model, because we are going to be using view model inputs. I'm going to call this main view model. I'm going to create a trigger. I'm going to use a trigger. I'm going to call the trigger slide. I'm going to come here. I'm going to come back to our state machine and our slide out to sliding, and say if slide is triggered, sliding. So if I play this now, you guys can see it's sliding. So it happened so fast because we need to add a duration. So I'm going to add like 350 milliseconds duration and add an calculation, and let's see what we have. And this is what we have. So I'm going to do the same thing to when it's triggered. It should slide back down. So I'm going to say it's triggered, do the same. I'm going to add a calculation, and let's see what we have. Sliding, slide back, sliding, slide back. We have our bottom sheet sliding from up to down. We would like to control it dynamically, so we can drag it from down to up and drag it back to down. So we are going to use listen now to achieve that. Let me pause this, and I'm going to select our bottom sheet and press this plus button, and I'm going to use blank. I'm going to use blank as our listener, so it's going to use the custom sheet layout. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to our right panel and change our pointer to point and drag. So in the sense that I'm going to say view model, if slide is triggered, should slide, like it should be dragged. So let's see if that's going to work. So if I drag now, it actually worked. So now we can drag it out in. So now that we have our logic set up, let's add live to the illustration. So I'm going to come back to our illustration group components. So we are going to regroup them. So I already regrouped them here. So I regrouped the cancel, the splash, the glow. Yeah, I called it glow, and the glass and hand. So now we have the background. Just going to come to our timeline here. So this is what I'm talking about when I talked about grouping. We're just going to come to our timeline and give ourselves 300 seconds. and activate the work area loop. I'm just going to bring this here. This also. Okay. So I'm doing this in case we are going to need to offset. So work area makes offset, like makes your animation looks dynamic. So that is why I'm using that. It's possible you might need to. So before we animate, I would like to make some grouping. This group here, I will change the position, the origin position to the hand here. So you can activate to change your origin position with your Y key, and I'm going to probably group this together. Just go there, and glass, and change the origin as well to let's continue. So I'm going to come here and key in the rotation key, come to the middle, which is 30 frames, and just maybe move it a bit, maybe minus 30% degree, and copy the first key, paste it. Going to add interpolation, so we should have something like this. Yeah, that's something like this. This is cool. So to make it look more neutral or look different, I'm going to take out the is and let's see what we have. Okay. I think this looks more Porsche. Yeah, let me use that. So let's continue. So I think what we can do again is we make this the wine inside the glass to look liquid, and how to achieve that is if we manipulate the vertex of these shapes. So let's see what we can do. So I'm going to open this glass, see the shapes there. Okay, so the shapes here are cool, but I feel if we are going to go with this, it's going to take us a lot of time. So to save us time, I'm going to create a simple circle shape that we can just use to represent the one that Frieda has. We have this, so now we can use this so we don't waste much time. So we're going to come here to the liquid. I'm going to activate the vertex and key all the vertex. I'm going to key all the vertex and come to the middle here and just play around the vertex. On this like this, this one too like this, maybe move this one a bit down and move this one a bit up. just trying to be creative here and come to the last frame and copy the first keyframes to the last face. Just going to add application to it and let's see what we have. So we have okay. So nice. This one is shooting out. I don't want that. Okay. I think we can go with that. So to make it look more nice, I think these other shapes have to follow it. So we are going to do the same for the other shapes. Just going to find them and do the same for it. Key all the vertex, then come to the middle. Just drag the ones that you need. Okay, just going to do this. Drag this one up. This one up. That's cool. So come here, copy this first and put it to the last page, and just get rid of the vertices you don't need. Keep your timeline. So do the same for others. So now you should have something as slick as this. This is good. I think we can go with this. Just going to add population to everything. Yeah, let's animate the splash. So splash, call this idle. Call this splash. I'm going to do the same thing. Just give ourselves 300 seconds. Loop work area. What we are going to do is we are going to select the dots and take it down and just do something like a bouncy motion type of thing. So I'm going to select everything and make it bounce. I'm going to key in the white position at the center. So I'm going to come back to and drag everything down. Maybe this will do. Just copy this first case and paste it to the last one. So we have something like up and down, but now it doesn't look like it's bouncing actually. So what we can do is add the calculation. Let's add some. So the movement is different now. You guys can see the movement is different. So I'm going to select the first case and just activate it and take the blend. I don't want it to show when it's going to be like it's when it's inside the drink. So the gas don't need to show when it's inside the drink. Sorry guys, I think okay. So I'm going to come here, pick this out at the center. Going to show, and when it's here, let's take it back as well. So let's see what we have now. we have this is what we have. I want it to splash up just the way gas always splashes in our drink. So how to achieve that is if I take the this in out and make it stay a while it's at the top, which is this middle here. So I'm going to delay the heat in when it's at the top and take this out. Add this out, yes. And should have something like that. I hope I'm selecting it. Okay. So we should have something like this. So this is exactly what is going to give us that splashing. So what we can do now is everything is animating at the same time. So we just need to offset them, and it's going to make sense from there. So let's do that real quick. So now we have something like this. You guys can see how cool it is now. And yeah, that's how we achieve our gas popping up. So let's see if this is actually working on our main screen. So I'm going to test that out here. Let's drag this. So this is working because it's tied to the state machine. I haven't tied the gas to the state machine, so that's why it's not playing. So let's do that. So I'm going to come to our state machine, create another layer so it can't play on its own. So while it's on its own layer, I can play on its own, and splash can play on its own. So now if we play our main screen, now we have it, and this is cool. This is actually cool. This is cool. So now that we have our idle working, so now it's time we make our illustration react when the button is clicked. We are going to add animations to the button. Then we can decide on how to make our illustration gives an action or a feedback following the button click. So I'm going to come to our button. I'm going to come to our button, and I'm going to open our timeline. So I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm going to change the colors. So I'm going to call this. I'm going to just mess with the colors and come to like 10 frames and just change this to 0808 and change this to white. So just have something like this and do this. So it's going to be like a snappy pic. So I think this is cool. I'm just going to reduce our duration to 20 seconds. So you can just have this. So now that we have that, we need to create view model for our button, so we can use that view model in our mail screen. So I'm going to come here. Let me come to design. I'm going to create a view model for our button. I'm going to call it button view model. So our button view model is going to, I'm going to use trigger as well. So I'm going to call our trigger button. So what we are going to do now is we are going to make our button interactive here. So I'm going to call this button. So I'm just going to duplicate this because we are going to need IDO state. I'm going to call this IDO. Just going to take everything out and probably just take everything out. So I'm going to come here and change this to IDO. Bring in our button and bring in our button again so we can flip. I'm going to connect this and see if our button is triggered. Go to button, and when it's triggered again, go to button, and it's triggered again. Go to button. So we should have something like so. And just toggle like this forever. We want to be able to control it ourselves dynamically, so we are going to use listener, just like what we did the other time. I'm going to select our, let me call this button. So I'm going to select the button and come here and choose change this to click. So when it's click, trigger button. So now if I click, it's going to trigger. Simple as that. So now what we need to do is add an animations that plays when our button is triggered, like feedback. So we are going to animate that. I'm going to create another timeline for this feedback. Before we animate, actually, there is two ways for us to do this and to make it more dynamic or more nice. So we have these three stroke, not a stroke per se, a shape, and I want to be able to show up like a splashy way, in a flashy way, actually, like just passing through. And there is two ways that I can achieve this. Maybe using the blend percentage to take it out, or we use stroke and we use this shape we are going to clip our stroke to this shape, and we can achieve something cool with that. So let me just do what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to create a shape or a stroke. Take this out, make it a stroke. Maybe make this stroke maybe 8, as big as that. So I'm going to So I'm going to bring this into this group, and I'm going to flip this stroke that I just created to this shape. And let me do that real fast. So now I take this out. I'm going to take that one. I'm going to take out this few stuff, and I'm going to activate path effect, which is trim effect on our stroke. So now we can have something like this. So I want it to pop out like this and pop out like that. So that is what I want to achieve. So I'm going to do the same thing to the other ones. So I'm going to activate my pen tool. Do this. Let's take this out. Make it a stroke. I'm going to bring it in here. Let's choose this. Just take out its fill color and flip it to it. So now it's clipped to it, and the stroke, I'm going to activate effect, trim effect, and let's leave it that way. So I'm going to do the same for this too, and animate them. Case actually. So this is going to be a one-shot thing. So I'm going to activate the work area. I'm going to manipulate the. Let's take this down. And right here. I'll do the same to the first one. Maybe use 3. Okay. So I'm going to key in the to put this so we have something like this. I'm going to do the same for the other ones. I'm just going to select this, add interpolation, just copy it so and paste it to other ones that adds that is nice. Let's animate the star. So I'm going to work on the scale, make it 0 right there. It's maybe 120. make it 95. And back to 0. Right there, and just start right there like that. 150 before it disappears. Yes. Okay. I think this is better. So just going to add interpolation to it. So, nothing crazy. So yeah, I can go with that. So let's just go with that. Now that we have that, we have to set it up in our main artboard for that to be triggered. So first thing we are going to do is invite, we need to activate our button view model in our main view model. So I'm going to come here and choose our button view model, and I'm going to link that our button view model to our button here. So I'm going to bind the button view model to our button. So right now it's going to give us the access to use that view model property to our button on our main artboard. So now if I play and click, you guys can see it actually worked. It worked. So I don't like how this guy is showing up here, so let me make that adjustment here. I'm just going to what I'm going to do is I'm going to this glow here. I'm going to come to the animations. I'm going to come to this one. I'm going to just same here. I'm going to put it at 0, and right there I'm going to activate it. So that way they don't show up necessarily on different scenario. Yeah, something like that. So now we drag this, we have something like this. So now we want it to, when I click on this button, there should be an action or feedback from the illustration. So we are going to come back to, let me pause this. So now we are going to come back to creating a timeline, and what I'm going to do now is easy. So I'm just going to come to our illustration and just take out our feedback, and I'm just going to remap. I'm going to use remap, not simple. So I'm going to use remap so I can use it on our timeline here. So using remap, I can just report the time and just 200%, and we're going to have So let me check. It's like I did not activate it on our. Okay. So let's see if that is going to sort our problem. Okay. So this is what we want. So now I'm going to call this feedback. So now we need to recreate this. So I'm going to take these guys out, these ones, and reorganize. So now it's going to be when user slides, it slides up. When it can slice down, and when users click on the button, the feedback animation plays. So it's going to be users drag. When users slice up, it triggers the slide, and when the user click on the button, so I'm going to put that button from the view model here, and I'm going to use our main view model property of button, so you guys don't forget. So if I use this now, it's going to play feedback animation, and let's see what we get. If I play this and click this, we have that. So we want it to be when users click and when they get their reaction, there's nothing left to be waiting for. So we want it to be that it goes down immediately when they get their feedback. So I'm going to bring this slide down. I'm going to bring it here and say when this is done playing, when the feedback is done playing, it slides down. So I'm going to say exit 100% while you are done playing, and it's going to slide down. And from slide down, I want to be able to go back to this other slide down as well. So I'm going to put it to 100% while it slides down. Just stay down. 100% slides down and stay down. So when I get to click on it again, and sliced up, and when it sliced up, so let's see if our logics are actually working. So I'm going to give out this maybe 15 milliseconds, same as this 15 milliseconds. I'm going to add population to this, same as this population 350. So let's see if we have this, but I can't slice down. But we have this, and it goes back immediately. It got the feedback. It sliced down, and that's what we want. Yes, and it sliced down. So, but I want it to be able that users can actually slice down. What if they don't want to reserve the spot? Maybe this is just something they don't need and they just want to slice back down. So we can achieve that. So we can connect our sliced up from here straight to down, and just give it a condition that says when slide is activated, it should slide down. So we are going to have something like this. When it slides up and slides down, but Let me give 15 seconds so it looks more realistic. Slice up, slice down, slice up, slice down, slice up, slice down, and when that place, so we have that. And I'll come here and just maybe give it a little delay, maybe 10 seconds more, so it wakes a bit before slicing down. That way it's exactly, I think that is better. The goal here wasn't to show you something fancy, it's to show you how I think on the design, to choosing what deserves motion, to designing and animating step by step. So if you are new to Rive or you are just starting with Rive, this mindset will help you a lot. And let me know what you want to see next, or you want me to work on next. Maybe the full screen or something more dynamic. So see you guys next one.